Hey, what's up? Daniel Thomson here, and I'm here to present my new model, the Neutrino. So the Neutrino is a design based off the Nano design, which was one of my original modern planing hull designs back in as early as 2008, 2009. It is incorporating the ultra parallel rail line, which become kind of my staple design. And basically what that does is give you a lot of drive and maximizes your surface area into the most minimal length in your plane shape. That's a really fun design for this particular model, basically because it just creates like this little skateboard style shape in the water, which gives you a whole lot of speed, super easy to use, and is basically super fun to ride. So, a bit of my background as a shaper. I was a surfer, pro surfer, free surfer for a number of years in my youth, and I was always interested in shaping and my family shape, so it was kind of like a natural progression for me to pick up a planer and start putting into foam what I wanted to feel in the water. So after a number of years of experimenting and coming from an experimental background, I kind of was drawn to designs that were kind of more influenced from the boating world and the hydrodynamic principles of hulls and boat shapes. And furthermore to that, like wakeboards, kiteboards, other boarding sports and interacting with the water was super interesting to me. As my shaping career progressed, I became more and more interested in the planing hull designs and designs of such like Bob Simmons designs and Steve List fishes, and I kind of got into that fish world, which gave my surfing a lot of freedom and speed and kind of flow that I was missing with riding traditional thrusters. And that kind of led into me experimenting with these little micro hull shapes that had basically the shortest possible shapes I could conceive of that would still give you enough float and drive and speed and paddle and all those things that you need. And yeah, my designs kind of took on their own forms and yeah, they kind of took off in popularity, and they kind of led me on a really interesting career path doing alternative shapes. One of those shapes is obviously the Nano design, which was a Firewire model in 2013, I believe. That was a super popular design that kind of paved the way for my designs on a global market. And yeah, we're revisiting that shape in 2025 with an updated version, the Neutrino. And yeah, it's basically similar design but fully optimized with all I've learned over the past 10-12 years of working with Firewire and developing these planing hull designs. So it's going to be a sick fun all-round shortboard, great in small waves, all good in medium, and you can even see the test your limits of going hyper fast in double overhead waves if you're up for that. So all around board, good fun board, The features of this board include a wide chop tail. I really like the chop tail design because from my experience it's one of the most low drag designs you can make. It allows the water to just release perfectly symmetrically or freely over that chop angle at the same time, which basically translates into a low drag and high speed surfing vibes. Why the chop tail? Why such a wide tail? Why such a wide nose? So basically what I'm doing is, if you take a regular shortboard template, say 6'0", 6'2" length, and you can chop that 4 inches off the nose and maybe 4 inches off the tail, and you'll have the drive and the foam basically of a lot bigger board in a much smaller package, which basically creates a board that's really fast, really fun to ride, and yeah, it's just a super user-friendly experience all around. So the Neutrino features the Quad-In-Single-Concave planing hole. Basically what that is it's a single concave throughout the board, and within that concave surface there's a quad concave surface. So that basically gives concaves within concaves, which gives you a lot of lift, a lot of speed, a lot of freedom on the wave, but once the board's on rail it really engages and gives you grip and a ton of acceleration. So super fun bottom design that features in a lot of my boards, and I felt like it's a perfect bottom contour for the Neutrino to get up and going in small waves and also give you a lot of hold when there's a bit of juice. Fin setups for the Neutrino. We've designed this one primarily as a thruster. It's got 3 boxes and works great as a thruster with the Firewire V-Locks template. I use a large personally, I'm 75 kilos, but if you're less than 75 you probably use a medium. Above 75, the large is going to be all good for you. The cool thing about the fin setup and how we've placed the fins is it's also compatible with a 2+1 setup, like the Kelly Endorphin 2+1 setup. Works really, really well. Particularly when the waves are small and gutless, you get a bit more speed and basically looseness out of the board. And it's great fun in a small wave with a 2+1. But as soon as it gets to the head-high range, or also going backside, I prefer a thruster. Gives that nice grip and pivot off the top. And all around the tri-fin seems to work really, really well with this design. The Neutrino is being released in the I-Bolic 2.0 tech, which is basically the high density foam rail, foam stringer combination. Beautiful little internal skeleton in the board. Then it's got a layer of like unidirectional carbon on the bottom to give the board a nice twangy flex and good all-round strength. So super reliable, super fun tech. I've been riding that in most of my models over the past few years, the I-Bolic, and I love it. I think it's Firewire's best tech, and yeah, it matches perfectly with this design. How does the Neutrino ride? What's the characteristics you can expect? So with that parallel rail line and that wider tail block, the board's going to have quite a lot of drive. It's kind of counterintuitive to what most people think a wide tail will be super loose and hard to control. But how I've tailed my curves and my rockers, the board is ultra drivey and super fast down the line. More of a transitional line, like a traditional fish, for example. But because I keep my wide points super narrow in the center of the board, it gives the board an easy rail to rail transition, so it doesn't feel cumbersome and wide. It feels quite responsive, rail to rail, and yeah, you can use that speed in areas of the wave that lack power. So for conditions with lacking power in the wave, this board really lights up. You can just fly across dead sections like they're not even there, join the dots down the line, and yeah, that just creates a real fun, user-friendly experience. The cool thing though is, like a lot of my designs that are designed for small waves, they have a surprising range. Because of that lengthened edge you got with these boards, you've got a kind of a functional edge from nose to tail. You get a lot of control when you're going really fast on a bigger wave. So for good surfers, you can actually kind of find an exceptional amount of control with that edge on a bigger face wave where you're going way faster than a traditional pulled-in round tail, for example. You're just like go across the water a lot quicker, so you can approach the wave a lot different. You can draw different lines. You can, you know, go into the bottom of the trough of the wave a lot faster and into the flats, and then you can kind of come back at the lip in a more vertical fashion and basically approach the wave in a whole different way, which is kind of what I try and do with my designs, is, you know, create a whole new way of approaching waves through, you know, different designs. So yeah, the Neutrino really captures that vibe, and yeah, I think people are going to have a bunch of fun experimenting in all kinds of conditions on it. That's the breakdown of the Neutrino model. It'll be hitting stores shortly, and yeah, you can get it at your local surf shop or at firewiresurfboards.com. What is a neutrino? The neutrino is a small subatomic particle with a neutral charge, and it's also a new model by Firewire.